make us look silly, but we'll see what happens. I'm so pumped for this.
Well, it's funny you say that you may not expect too many goals, because that is one aspect that was not mentioned. FaZe Clan in their 9-0 run yesterday also allowed 0.89 goals per game. So they got a pretty stingy defense too. So G2 definitely going to have to work hard. I think there is value in saying that G2 can definitely put this one into contention for themselves. They have all the tools. It's just a matter of, can you stop First Killer, AJ, and Typical?
A lot of offense. So many players with strong pushes into enemy territory. I feel like I'm just saying different words, same thing. Let's just get the shooting started. There's a shot from AJ. JNaps makes the stop on the line. The First Killer dumps it back to AJ in the midfield. For shot number 2, passes it back, intercepted, and Atomic. They get it out to JNaps, going up against the third man, Typical. Clears it out of the backfield. Chicago trying, AJ gets in his way, Typical now. One touch, back out to First Killer, Atomic with the interception.
The big match.
The midfield, back over to the side. Yeah, man, FaZe has found a rotation through 3 times now.
They're doing an excellent job so far keeping it on this G2 half. It's just a matter of, can they actually dish one out into the middle? And the big problem that they're going to run into a lot of times, more often than not, is probably going to be JNaps. He's such a strong defender over on that defensive side of things, and you'll let him through on the midfield, but once you get him back in that defensive third, he's a real tough guy to break down.
Here's First Killer. Atomic over the top of 1, AJ and the third man. Soft touch past Atomic. Chicago getting covered man-to-man. Not able to win a challenge. JNaps out of the backfield. After the touch to the backboard, we'll get a clear, but demolished. Now Atomic trying to take over control. Gonna lose it there, and we'll see Typical blast it back to G2's half. First Killer looking for another attempt here. Met in the air. Both teams.
Ooh.
Staying strong on the defense. Especially FaZe in particular, though, controlling the pace of this game.
They're doing an awesome job of it, to be honest, capitalizing. If G2 misses a ball, they give themselves the extra chance, and G2's having to work quite hard on defense to make sure that those extra chances don't become more dangerous than they already are. Imperative to be perfect on your defensive touches here, because they're right on the desk. FaZe, if you give them an opening, they will absolutely press. You will crack.
Oh, Typical. An open backfield. Can he find the touch? Oh, it's AJ who comes in. Typical going to bait out the defender. AJ scores the first goal.
I take a look, see if Typical even really had a chance at it. He doesn't really see anybody coming. I think he was actually just trying to score that or pop it off the wall one way or the other. First Killer was waiting for it, so if Typical hit it, it's probably going to make it that way either way, but the support gets there behind him and make sure it gets home. Great press from start to the goal from FaZe Clan. Never let it off the gas.
They have been front the entire kickoff. We saw a few attempts from G2, but they have 0 shots to the 4 of FaZe here. Game number 1, AJ up for this, dropping it back to Typical. JNaps up for it. Make contact. First Killer on the third man, gonna pick up that touch. Up against Atomic. Second touch goes to G2. Typical in the sky, takes it underneath, gonna lose control on the backside. JNaps and Atomic now working together onto the backboard. No one there to take the shot though, and First Killer's got it for free. Out of the goal, AJ's upfield. Can they find a way through? AJ from the side nearly puts the shot in. It's killed in front of the box. Typical with the whole net to shoot at. Goes for the upper 90. Atomic's got the save. We'll stay 1-0.
Big demo there from JNaps as well. They needed that space on the G2 half to make sure that they could get some room to breathe, grab some boost, and still having to win challenges. FaZe unwilling to give them any ground over on the orange side for much time.
Typical versus Atomic. Atomic in the midfield past 1, and First Killer now onto the backboard. Chicago and JNaps will work in tandem trying to move upfield. Neutral 50-50. JNaps in the 1-2 shadow. Moves up, takes control, but now Atomic out of this corner. The 1:30 on the clock. Still only 1 goal for FaZe. What was expected to be a shootout. It has been a shootout, but the defense has stood strong on both sides, keeping it to just 1 actual successful goal. Drop here to JNaps, looking for the shot to the far side, and it goes in. There's the equalizer.
You can feel it coming with this lift from Atomic to Chicago, and it's like, all right, just got to give JNaps a dime, and oh boy, top left corner, pinpoint for him. G2 keeping themselves in it.
Brilliant, brilliant passing there. You could not have asked for a better pass, your JNaps. The soft touch off the ground. He's able to take it at first. He's able to take it off the bounce. Any type of shot he wants, and he places it on the money. 1 minute left to go in game 1. Tied up at 1 apiece. Here's AJ. Oh, a strong touch. JNaps out of goal, makes the stop. Now pass another. Chicago on the back wall with Atomic in net. Back out to AJ, trying to get it back up to his teammate. It's on the backboard, and Atomic misses. First killer comes in quickly onto the backboard once more, forcing G2 up into the air, burning as much boost out of their tanks as possible. Atomic, the fullest in the tanks, will reach from the midfield, but Chicago in the back. Oh, his boost isn't spawning in time. Back to first killer, he places it. They get the shot off, but the save comes through. Atomic, can they keep it clean? As Chicago passes back to the outside, JNaps. Whoa, boy, G2 gets out of that one.
Wow, I genuinely have no idea how they kept that one out. Once it pinched across the box out to that FaZe guy, I was like, that's it.
Oh, this is open.
And they're going to score. G2 hold off the storm, and they're going to push back the other way, combine a couple demos with it, and give themselves a very late lead.
The double demolition. Open it up. A team play here. It looks like a simple pass, but the third man getting all the rest of the work done. 14 seconds left. G2, you said it, standing strong on defense and then gets rewarded on the other side. Typical with an opportunity here. Can he get the second touch too? Back into the midfield. JNaps with the clear to the empty. And AJ in first killer. Trying to tag team this one back out. 2 seconds. One, it's on the 0. It's got to stay off the ground. It does not give them the bounce. G2 going to take game 1 in style.
Woo! That's a lot to handle. The fact that you had to play defense at genuinely the start of this game, 2.5 minutes, literally half the game. You only gave up 1 goal. Great job standing strong there for G2. That was not easy to fight them off. You love the positioning from FaZe out of the midfield. A lot of pressure, really controlling a lot of the boost as well. And the fact that G2 even kept themselves in this one required perfect passing, perfect shot from JNaps, and then every now and again, you get the opportunity to have a nice, easy one to take the lead.
Yeah, no, I mean, we got to chat with Reddles recently, and he was talking about how Rocket League is literally a game of perfection. It is about being consistent from beginning to end, and we saw it there from G2. They said, hey, FaZe Clan's going to have opportunities to score. There's no way we can stop them from that, but if we can keep ourselves clean in net, we can win in a few opportunities. We saw it exactly on the scoreboard. G2 only 5 shots to the 9 from FaZe. FaZe with more offensive output, G2 with more offensive actual success, despite fewer opportunities. Well played game for G2.
And if FaZe find themselves in a position where they feel a little more comfortable pressing forward even further and trying to open up a few more gaps in that G2 defense, wouldn't be surprised to see. Oh my gosh, how did he keep that out? And AJ going to be denied by Chicago. I thought for sure that was going to go into the back of the net.
Wow. Oh no, here G2's going to try on the other end. You imagine they immediately score?
I would lose my mind and be like, how? You cannot stop it, apparently.
Chicago. And JNaps demolished. First killer around the edge. Is anyone there? No. Typical tried upfield, but JNaps pre-jumps the save. He's in the air well before anyone from FaZe can get there. Now first killer. Oh, they cover up AJ. They bump him on the pass, but Typical's got the rebound into the goal. FaZe scores first again.
I wasn't too sure if AJ mishit this one or if he's just trying. Oh, he got clipped. That explains it. Yeah. Okay. Chicago gave him a love tap. Didn't want AJ to have a perfect shot on target. Either way, still gets through the defense, and Typical gonna come through, make sure that one finds where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, a bit of a double commit there on the goal line as well, making things pretty easy for Typical on the rebound. No one could chase the ball because both players were airborne. So a momentary falter from what we saw was a perfect G2 in game number 1. Chicago, oh. First killer to the back. Now Atomic. Oh, challenge out of the box. Typical now in the midfield. Through one. JNap's going to miss Typical into the corner. Looking for the passes, but Chicago meets him. Now first killer to the sky. AJ in the mid. First killer's going to hold on to it himself. Try to drop. He's in. Dangerously. Yeah. Oh, he got denied. The follow-ups there. AJ will finish it off. 2-0 FaZe.
You knew it was going to be too good. Once he got up and around Atomic and JNaps is up the backboard, it's like, he's going to absolutely destroy whoever's going to come and challenge him. He may not have got the goal for it, but it's okay. It was good enough.
It's incredible. First killer getting up above the player and then staying. He's above the ball, but still manages to actually have control. A really difficult orientation to achieve where you're that close to the ball on top of it with still the ability to influence it where the defender underneath has to challenge. He's able to get a dunk from that position. What a play. First killer he didn't get credit for the goal, but he absolutely crafted that with his bare hands. Now Atomic on the other side here, G2.
Oh, okay.
Looking to bounce back. Chicago, AJ getting harassed. Now Sipical in the sky, a lot of boost. Atomic's not going to reach him here. Can JNaps find a way off the wall here? They drop it, dangerous into the box. He Goomba stops JNaps, but first killer not able to get it through. I think it was Atomic there that got in his way. And now out of the midfield, G2 trying to find a semblance of offensive pressure. This FaZe has just continued to win the midfield and give themselves more and more opportunities.
And G2 trying to see if they can get a cheeky demo on those rotations back, give themselves extra time to get set on offense, because they really are having to go full speed ahead every which way just to kind of stay on pace with FaZe. It's making it really tough to do what you want with the ball and kind of more at the mercy of what can I actually do right now, not what I want.
Oh, what?
Oh, you're kidding!
Pass? He puts it straight on his Typical's nose and he's just pointed at the goal.
Like, Atomic, he doesn't make a bad play there. That Typical just wins that, and first killer puts it right back into him for the perfect piece of timing. Ooh,
that's like the shortest pass I've ever seen. It's like a handoff in like American football. Just like, here, take this. That was crazy. 3-0 FaZe. I go to the corner. AJ now to the midfield. Typical's gonna reach for this somehow. Beats JNaps to the wall. And now Chicago dropping this back in the midfield. First killer trying to pass to his teammates. AJ not quite on the same page. First killer ended up passing to himself. Now AJ out of the corner, winning another one. And this midfield does seem to be the weakest part of G2's rotations right now. When they're able to stay on offense, they're looking okay. And generally, despite being down 3-0, the defense has been there. It's just this midfield. They're losing so many opportunities.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with that, because it's not like FaZe are playing like perfectly on transition or always getting the hit they need. They've had a couple of missed touches, and I kind of found myself thinking, I wonder where G2 is right now, and they kind of get tied up on the goal line, and what can you do here? They both rotate back on the same line, and neither of them has a real good touch on this ball. They were hoping that it would either roll up, and at this JNaps kind of hamstrings Atomic as well. Straight into the top of the net. You can probably put game 2 to bed.
Yeah, they did a good job both slamming on the brakes the moment they got into goal. They actually had 2 shots covered, but Typical placed it well and out of reach of the inertialist defenders. As this one slips past the back line, Chicago on the rotation's got to scoop it up. Typical now looking to reach out more. Yeah, FaZe definitely with a minute 15 left to go, up by 4. This one going to be done and dusted. They're going to equalize the series. And I said earlier that, we saw a perfect G2 in game number 1. Obviously, they let a goal in, so you could make the argument that they weren't perfect. The point I was making, though, was we saw, I think a better way to phrase it is we saw an errorless G2. I didn't see any moment where I felt like they let the goal in. We saw a few more of those inconsistencies here from FaZe, and FaZe has managed to stay on offense so much that I didn't really get a good evaluation of, is FaZe's defense having any issues? There's just so few opportunities here from G2.
Yeah, it's tough because, you can sit here and criticize the G2 defense for not stopping FaZe Clan, but at the same time, it's like you were just mentioning in between games 1 and 2. This is a game that requires perfection, and against a team that's playing as well on offense as FaZe Clan is right now, anything less than perfection. It's kind of like playing chess, right? There's the best move in the position. There's an excellent move in the position. There's a good move in the position. And then the rest is kind of like, okay, that's not bad, but it's not good. Okay, that's definitely bad. And then there's, what are you doing?
And there's the blunder.
And G2 is making like okay, it's not good, but it's not bad. And that many times over and over stacks up. That advantage builds and builds and builds. And FaZe just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And eventually you just get in this position where you can't do anything about it.
Well, and they're not, I feel like they're not changing. It's either, I think G2 right now is relying on, we're just going to eventually start winning the midfield. We're going to get ourselves the opportunities on their side. They're not changing their game plan. They keep doing the same thing in FaZe. This is working for them well right now. They're happy with this result. They got 13 shots out of this game. And in regulation, 13 shots in regulation. And they said, well, we're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And they score 4 times. So G2, I think, really does need to bring something new to the table here. Maybe getting demo heavy when you're up in midfield, trying to find a way just to break that up from FaZe might be the plan. I'm not going to tell them what to do, but there's something has to change here in game 3.
Yeah. There's always a couple of different avenues. You can do kind of what Space Station likes to do every now and again, right? Where they'll be playing defense, and there's somebody's going to be on low boost, and one of them just goes, I don't care. I'm going all the way to the other side. I'm grabbing boost. Yeah. You guys handle it as best you can, and on the way back, I'm going to make sure I take out somebody in that midfield line, and it's risky, but you know, sometimes the situation you find yourself in, which is currently 1-0 FaZe and 2 seconds into game 3, necessitates a little extra risk, and that's kind of the crux of the problem. How much risk are you willing to incur to try and keep a game in a manageable spot?
Well, but by throwing that kind of chaos element of, I'm going to make a decision that by the letter of game optimal theory is bad. I'm going by like being out of boost and going into enemy territory, taking their boost, coming in and demoing them on the way out, where they're just never going to like anticipate me being. Once I do that once or twice, they start thinking about it, and it changes the way they affect the game, right? The way they approach the game. Right now, it's so formulaic. It's so easy for FaZe to be creative on offense because everything else is just in place. So G2, they get equalized against in game 2, but unable to be productive in the offense in any way, shape, or form.
You know, I really think the biggest win for G2 is going to be stop having to challenge the ball in the air. If they can start bringing this ball a lot flatter, they're gonna keep a lot more of that boost too. They don't have to fly to it because it's kind of this, you know, war of attrition, and they're losing it when it comes to we're having to fight for the ball in the air. So I'd like to see more traps, bring it down, you know, just try and manage the game that way, because up in the air is not going well for them at the moment.
G2 trailing by 1 after a blatant cheat up kickoff goal at 2 seconds in. AJ in the sky, taking his time, hold on to this. He dribbles up the wall and then hits the boost in the air. Get himself a lot more resources to work with once he's airborne at altitude. Ultimately gets taken away from him. Now, first killer out of boost. Flip reset over 1. Gonna try and challenge Atomic. He had the dunk position, but Atomic clears it to the corner and away from first killer. Now Typical back around FaZe. Rotating through the midfield, gonna look for round 2 here. First killer with a trap. And Chicago back to Atomic.
Okay.
All through 2.
Oh, he got through.
Okay. The one defender stranded here, and Chicago manages to put it in and tie up the game.
Yeah, AJ's definitely following this all the way back, and I think he got so focused on Atomic there, he stopped thinking about where Chicago was going to recover. He's thinking, all right, Atomic, you know, some hard touch towards the backboard, or maybe he's going to go into the corner. And he goes, oh, that's right, he can also throw it back down. And after that touch came out, he realized he was a little too far forward and he needed to keep going back.
First kill in the corner here, as they will look to take that lead back now. Chicago through 2, Typical on the backboard with a stop, and then a demolition to AJ in the midfield. Typical will just advance on the dribble. JNaps pops it off of him, but first killer was shadowing. A lot of commitment to that play, despite the demo. Over the top of 1, first killer with a stop. Atomic held on to control the whole way through, and all 3 defenders flinch at the follow-up. Back across the goal. First killer pushed it into the box, but no ability to take a shot. Crossing halftime, still tied up in the series and in the game.
Atomic did just get a nice boost steal on the other side, though. Okay, now here's where you need to take care of the ball. I don't really like the punt. It's like, yeah, if he gets the demo, you might score, but just take that extra second. Make sure you've got the ball, because look what happens. They just bombed it back to your side, and now you're hoping that you can just keep the ball.
AJ, with space now to the sky up against Chicago. He's got Atomic to work with as well, or to deal with. And now trying to pass it out over the top of first killer. Bounces strongly off the ground. The second man can't make contact. Now AJ. Let's move past by Chicago. Both players orbiting the ball. Go through 1 to try to chase this down. First killer with a pop. JNaps gave him the space to do it. Quick turn on this one. JNaps to the sky now. From second man back to third, then back to first.
Oh, first killer. So fast. I mean, never really said his name too much except for that one dunk, and that doesn't mean that he's doing nothing. That dude is out there being a nuisance, and that's just open? Why is this open? I opened the scoreboard for 2 seconds, and I don't see what happens.
I think it was just caught them in the rotation here. AJ's moving back, and Typical in the midfield's got to make the stop. The other player's out in the corner picking up enemy boost. And just a 1 challenge that is also a shot for Atomic turns into a goal. And after the crazy game 2, the 4-0 of FaZe dominating the midfield, being creative as they possibly can be on offense, we're following up with a G2 route.
Look at this cut. flat, bink, instant tip to the right. It's just like, how can you make it look so smooth where you don't lose any speed, but you take so much off the ball?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Oh, is it in? Oh, it's off the post, and they don't have the follow-up. The kickoff looking great for FaZe. Again, another opportunity possibly, but JNaps gets there before AJ can make the shot. Now, First Killer trying to play some retreating defense, Typical with a monster clear, but Atomic had it red from the start. Almost got to the dunk on Typical again. JNaps now going to have the response. A lot of boost in the tank. Takes it over the top. Flip reset over AJ. Over First Killer, and AJ on the backboard's got the clear. A pop, and AJ's got no boost. He can't chase this down. Typical's going to come from the backfield trying to make it happen.
wow.
AJ still, I believe, low in the tank here.
There's
Now pass it back in FaZe.
Back to
FaZe
First.
space. Back to First. Killer places it well. They gave him too much room. It's a one-goal game.
Great transition for FaZe Clan. Gorgeous. AJ realizing he has the extra time. Go collect 100, dish it out to Typical, and they got a nice little triangle set up. Back down the other way. Give it to your teammates. Let them make something happen. And the guy in the back for G2 just trying to figure it all out. Too slow.
That was brilliant. The moment they let FaZe have the ball in their territory with all three players lined up like that, it was over. No, good luck figuring out where this ball is going to be at the point of contact. They take us left, though. FaZe got to score now. AJ onto the backboard. JNaps has this. He'll take it to the corner. First Killer's there, and JNaps beats him again. Two players, they're on top of each other. They should be able to clear this way. Oh, but they get a touch. First Killer keeps it up.
Atomic.
And this is to the backfield. First Killer should get this off the wall, but can he hold on to it? Typical keeps it alive. The 0-second drill holding on right now, but here comes Chicago to crash the party.
Oh my gosh.
First Killer keeps it there. Typical traps against the wall. First Killer pops. AJ wants to. JNaps puts it in. There we go. A buzzer beater in the other direction. JNaps says, let's just get out of here. We'll take the win.
This is the unfortunate problem. First Killer trying to get that ball to go forward because that's where AJ was headed. Unfortunately, it kind of goes sideways and right out into the middle, and it's kind of the problem with your mind is so focused on making sure it doesn't touch the ground.
Yeah.
Sometimes you overcook it just a little bit, and JNaps able to come through and have a nice, easy put-away goal. But great turnaround for G2. I mean, you had to work real hard at it again, but this time, most importantly, limiting those FaZe Clan shots on net. So even if I wasn't a big fan of the punt game, it stopped FaZe Clan from building up shots. So shows what I know.
Well, and we said, you know, at the end of game two, that the thing we didn't really get to see in game two was the FaZe Clan defense. They didn't have to play much in their own third. And here we saw them having to play quite a bit in their own third, and we saw quite a few holes, and it was where most of the goals came from. Obviously, this is really a 3-2 game where G2 gets a garbage goal at the end there. But of the 3 goals we saw, most of them coming from opportunities that where FaZe left an opening.
Yeah, one of them right over the head of Typical because he was covering for AJ, and that was Atomic. And then another one, actually Atomic again beat Typical on that dribble where he just hard cut the ball. Well, I shouldn't say hard cut it, but he definitely gave it a cheeky little chip out to the right that it's really hard to see coming. And then I'm trying to remember the last goal, but either way.
It was wide open. Remember, it was the one where you had the scoreboard open. It was there.
Oh, yeah.
Full on rotation.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, okay. And but one thing you do know for certain is that Atomic was involved in both of those plays.
That's true. And the midfield shooting, I think that I like the G2 saying, hey, we're having trouble moving fully into their back third and playing against them when they're in net. We're not even getting there. Let's just start taking shots from the place where we're here. Let's take shots from the midfield, marksman type offense. And it works out. The long range shots going in there, giving them a win. Series 2-1 in favor of G2. A best of 7, got to win 4. We are on a slight delay here as one of the players working out a connection issue. So we'll get through that in here in a second. But this series has shaped up to be what the desk was predicting. 6-7, only 3 games in so far, Chiefs. Yeah,
no shortage of both teams trying their best. I have to say, I really do enjoy how much map coverage FaZe has so far. I mean, even if they're leaving the back open a couple of times, most of the time it's looking because someone like just didn't get their hands on a challenge.
Yeah.
But if FaZe is getting their hands on a challenge, it's been so hard for G2 to consistently push forward. And that's not an indictment of G2 at all. It's just, I am amazed at how fast the follow-up is for FaZe in these games all the time. I mean, the ability to just be like, yep, it doesn't matter if it's good or not. It just has to be high. My teammates behind me are so fast that we're going to keep pressing because we've got more of the map to play with.
Yeah, it is the thing we saw there in game 3 was that when they won a challenge, oftentimes the touch that won the challenge also was a shot on net. And because of the wideness of FaZe Clan's rotation, we see there's openings that are created because of that. But this pass play, man, the moment they gave them that room, oh, that's crazy to me that they were able to just like perfect 1, 2, 3 into the goal.
You love to see that coordination from FaZe as well, because you know, I know that, you know, Gibbs and other people were like, AJ's great. I was not a believer in AJ's great for a very long time.
What changed your mind?
You know, I'm not going to say it was that pass play, but I'm going to be like, that pass play makes me go, oh yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah. I'm not sure when I knew I was wrong, but that one definitely confirmed it.
That one definitely goes, yeah, you were definitely wrong about that one.
Yeah, for sure. We'll keep them going here. And big matches across the board today from so many different teams. I've loved what we've gotten to see. Oxygen Esports continuing a run here. Rogue making it through as well. But now here up in the upper bracket, these teams also, one of the things that's great about these teams, we said it was going to be a very offense-heavy game. When you're in the upper bracket and you have that extra life, there's not that festering thought in the back of your mind saying if you lose this, you're out. You know, you get that second chance, and that freedom of mental clarity, I think, is allowing a lot of the great Rocket League we're seeing in this match.
Oh, I believe that. I mean, unless you're a team that's, you know, been to every live event in every situation imaginable, which very few players at this point are.
NRG,
I think you have exactly, and like K-Dot probably as well.
Yeah,
like I think there's very few players who you could just drop into any situation and be like, yeah, I don't care. I'm just gonna go play the game. So it's a very difficult thing to just be like, huh, we're down 3-2 with 30 seconds left in game 7, and if we lose this, we get knocked out and we don't win our $30,000.
And like, the word oh no, it just gets so big in so many people's heads, right?
Yeah, you're like, don't mess up.
Been here before. This is gonna be all right. The player has reconnected the lobby. We should be getting started very quickly. So that match will be going again, a best of 7 G2 in the blue, FaZe in the orange. First to 4 moves forward in the upper bracket into the upper bracket finals. G2 currently holding a 2-1 lead. And what has been a very, you were talking about chess earlier, this has felt very chess matchy to me of like, where can we find the weaknesses? Well, okay, FaZe doesn't seem to have one here. Let's take long range shots. That worked in game 2, or in game 3 rather. Now, how does FaZe respond to that G2 style, that G2 offense adjustment?
Well, that funny thing is FaZe doesn't need to make a big adjustment in my head. I think FaZe literally just has to get even a piece of any of those challenges, and they're going to be in a much better position. JNap's second recovery. Typical tries to set one up for AJ, and again, another setup. First Killer says, hang on, we need a couple extra seconds to get reset here.
Typical is a very good Rocket League player, but he made a few touches there that I think, and it was almost like every touch he made it impossible for his team to score, and the touches he made were not good. But First Killer gonna find the air dribble bump, turns into a demo for goal number 1.
To echo Corelli from the last regional, he is just the best.
Very, very good. He's very good at this video game. With 4:26 left to go, FaZe scores for the first time for the 4th game in a row. They have scored first every single time.
Oh my gosh.
As AJ's gonna look for another one here in Chicago. Builds a little wall, extends the post. Now First Killer. Out of the corner, Atomic drops onto the backboard. AJ and Typical both want to go for it. Both kind of back off. Now Atomic puts one on target. First Killer out of goal. Has the clear.
G2 starting to get stuck in a little bit here. We actually get to see some extended G2 offense. Oh, they hit each other. Never mind.
Oh, man. I think the chat saw Director Cam do a 360 there, too. That was dizzying. Here's JNaps. Out of the corner, out to Atomic. Typical with the interception. First Killer to try and cover it up, but Chicago able to counter-intercept out of the 3rd man. Now Typical through 1. Atomic on the backboard, first killer on the high. AJ demolished in the midfield, but first killer holds on to control and wins a challenge against Chicago. His teammate will have respawn and reset the field. FaZe Clan holding on to the lead for now.
This is a great sequence from G2. It's not really result. Oh no, never mind.
That's
the worst
free
sequence
goal
from G2.
Walk me through how this went from bad to worse.
Well, it was great because they were doing such a great job of like, okay, we're not necessarily generating shots on target, but we are keeping pressure. They were playing FaZe Clan, right? That was what FaZe Clan was doing. We're getting the challenges, we're keeping the pressure, and then Atomic as the third man says, yeah, I can go and get that, and he's maybe about 20 boosts short. And he just doesn't come up with a hit.
Oh dear, I'm empty. AJ off the wall with the JNaps. Atomic now down the middle of the field, got two players. The bump, JNaps onto the backboard. AJ takes it away. JNaps maybe had run on a boost or respected FaZe enough to back off. Now first killer with a touch up against JNaps, gets the demolition. AJ over the top of one. First kill on the outside, out of boost, but has position. Now looking for bumps. He loosens up Chicago, but Chicago manages to land, jump again, make the save against Typical. Keep the lead only at 2. Typical now down, back to the sky. AJ wanted to go, but here's Typical looking to drop it, just barely misses, high above the crossbar.
Some great boost steals as well here from FaZe Clan. G2 kind of forced to just dump the ball away, and FaZe Clan an opportunity here to really get stuck in.
Typical tries to turn on it, jumps it back into the box. AJ's up to cover the second touch, but Chicago manages to get it past him without getting dunked. And now a bump upfield. Atomic neutral challenge against Typical. Typical is forced to back pass, and AJ manages to slot it. Now AJ back against Chicago in the corner. Atomic versus Typical. Goes in Typical's favor. JNaps drops it back into this corner, and he couldn't get it past first killer. It looked like he was going to get it past, but JNaps now with a demolition on the Typical. He's looking for AJ. Can he get him? He does!
Oh, no!
Stops the shot himself! He destroyed him only to replace him. That's incredible.
Oh man. I
can't believe that happened.
When everything goes exactly to plan and it still doesn't work out. Now that's annoying.
You gotta hit the brakes, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I think he was falling. Like, I don't even think he could hit the brakes.
Well, and what do? Hit the brakes right in the middle of the goal?
Yeah,
no, when you get the
do?
demo, you expect him to shoot dead center. He placed it away from AJ. So, that's a tragic one. G2 still no goals in game 4. 1 minute remaining. With a back and forth series. FaZe looking to equalize it at 2-2. AJ with some wall dashes. First killer gonna try and put in a shot here, but JNaps getting that away.
Oh, hello.
3 players in the middle for G2 and a double commit on the other side, so we probably won't see an immediate counterattack, but both teams getting a little antsy. Chicago to try. Slots it out to JNaps, and this one finally connects. 1-goal game.
Yeah, great push here. That double commit actually did really hurt because Typical used all of his boost to go up for that, and he was the one double committing, and so he finds himself out of position, has to rotate back onto the goal line, and he's only got one line to take on that challenge, and he got beat with one of those classic G2 tight passing plays next to the net.
36 seconds left. Can G2 equalize? Typical with a stop. Atomic turns. We're still trying. Chicago to try and dump it. Oh, JJ gets demolished. First goal has to drive through the smoke screen. Difficult read on the other side. And FaZe defense continues to collapse. Equalizer scored. 21 seconds left.
Gotta love those demos again, and JNaps so patient. He's chilling all the way back in midfield. He's like, I don't care that the ball's right next to the orange net. I just have to wait and see what happens. And it's so tough for first killer to even think about how to fight Atomic for that ball there. And unfortunately just pulls himself off it with how he jumped at it.
Oh no, first killer. He got that across. Atomic was slow on the rebound, but the rest of FaZe not going to make it happen in a momentary 2v2 here. Both teams getting a demo. 4 seconds left. Overtime looming on the horizon. Here's AJ looking to try and finish it off in regulation. Drops it into the box. So close, and Chicago has to push it out. Overtime, game 4.
Overtime out of nowhere. I mean, this looked like a done, dusted deal with FaZe Clan up 2-0, and G2 out of nowhere said, move over. We have decided to score a bunch of goals really quickly.
Can G2 finish off the comeback here in game 4? Atomic in the sky. AJ with a lot of space, but no boost. Back out to first killer. Manages to catch. Ooh, loses the challenge to JNaps. AJ somehow wins an aerial challenge by having no boost. Now Typical. Pass Atomic, but gets demolished. G2, more and more deadly in FaZe's back third, a place where we saw them not even really having to play in the first few games. Now struggling as the G2 offense has really cranked up. Here's Chicago. Dunked by Typical. Stomps another player, first killer. Back to AJ. Tommy in the corner versus first killer. Chicago going to try and crowd it. Chicago, it's there, but again, the demolition and a bump on Typical. JNap slots it, and G2 are on match point.
So awkward here. Typical, he was supposed to be challenging there in that midfield, but he took kind of a weird line and kind of tied up first killer, made him go for it in the corner, and Typical had already committed out to that side, so he kind of found himself in no man's land and never really in a good position defensively, and Chicago able to work his way out of that corner, find a little bump, and the tiniest of windows, but of course JNaps hits that, give him the hat trick, give him the dub.
This is a concerning result for FaZe. 11 shots here, 6 shots there from JNaps in that game. When you had this one put away, FaZe will call the timeout here, you had this match secured. The Chiefs. You said it.
Oh, yeah.
And then G2 come back and win it in overtime. And now what makes it worse, you're up against match point. G2 is 1 away. You got to win 3 games straight to take this series.
And it's kind of surprising how we found ourselves there. I mean, I think about all those goals, and I hate to point fingers, but Typical's just coming out short on a couple of those challenges. And
yeah,
sometimes the positioning kind of throwing off that idea from FaZe in a couple of spots as well. And I mean, you hate to say it, but it's just fine-tune where you're headed, and I think you'll be in a better spot. It's like he's not playing a bad game. He's taking fairly good challenges, but the ones that he's coming up short on are costing him big time.
No, he's doing his best, but I mean, I pointed out at the very beginning of Game 4, their very first drive, there was like 3 touches in a row from Typical. That was like, ooh, that I expected that to be better. I expected at least like the first shot was a shot. It was on target, but very slow. And then the second touch was clearly not actually helping his teammates set it up. And then the ball just kind of, because of a G2 mistake, pinches out. First killer has a free shot, and Typical goes up and touches it like oh, he's trying to back pass, but puts it past first killer. So just being just a little out of sync with the rest of his team. And that last touch, he just hadn't touched it, they would have scored. So I agree with you. I think Typical is the player for me to watch moving forward into Game 5. Can he step things back up and to be that world-class player his ceiling is absolutely capable of?
Yeah, and it's really not like it's like egregious, like, what are you doing, mistakes? There's that nice JNaps team save.
They saved their own goal and still won the game.
Still won. Still came through and put 2 on the board before 45 seconds was over.
Oh, that was incredible. That was a G2 game through and through. The big difference for me in this game, we haven't talked about it really yet, was the bumps and demos we saw from G2. They really opened up that backfield. On top of everything we've said, that was a characteristic that showed up in Game 4 we hadn't seen through the first 3 games, and they start things off here. FaZe actually getting a demo off the kickoff. Do they match back? Is that the response here for FaZe? Let's get physical. Here's Typical.
Oh, nice.
Places on target.
Wow.
Blast that one to the back. Typical heard us and said, all right, we'll figure this out.
The approach on this ball is actually what's so smart from him. I mean, he jumps at that ball, and Chicago's thinking it's shot to the far post, maybe to the middle as hard as he can, and Typical's got just the perfect timing to get it on the back side of the cargo, left side of the net. That's deceptive.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were, when you said about the approach, I think you were talking about AJ's pass, which was also incredible. Getting the flip reset, the challenge in the air that just neutrally drops it to his teammate, who then goes for the feint to the far, shoots to the left. It looks like a simple pass play. So much happens at this top level. Flip reset for first killer, going to take the shot. It's going to be wide ball for AJ though. Onto the back post, Typical up for another one. Just puts it wide. No follow up there. JNaps going to be able to get a clear. Now Chicago trying to get it out of his third, but goes off to the wall again. AJ dropping it to first killer. He's covered up by a million G2 cars. And will not be able to make a touch.
Typical having to use all 100 there just to make sure that G2 didn't get a free ball. Did a nice job of it, but FaZe find themselves in a situation that has not been kind to them over the past couple of games, jammed in their own corner. It's all about how quickly they work out.
You saw all 3 of them crowded in their goal. A very cramped rotation, giving G2 literally the entire field to play for. But they got out of it. Now with a few opportunities. There's a pass to Chicago to the corner. First killer reaches. Catches. Now dishes to the middle. Atomic back down. Chicago with the redirect. Sipple now on the outside. Picked up his boost on his way as well. Full tank, empty backfield. Can he just blast it? They tried. But, it's put the ball too much down. The G2 defender able to get there. Now Chicago to wrap this around. AJ in the corner. First killer up for it versus Atomic. Gets over the top of him. Atomic no boost on the enemy back wall, and the corner boost gets taken from him. With a long rotation out. Flip resets AJ. Dangerous, but now to Chicago. Back down to Atomic. First killer back over. AJ tries. Intercepted by JNaps. He's out of boost in the wall. Typical. Take 2 touches to get out of the corner, and Chicago's there.
Good takeaways as well, though. I think in any delay tactic you find yourself coming up with here for FaZe is a good thing. It doesn't need to be the strongest clear as long as you don't make a bad touch.
Chicago on the outside here. This is AJ. Empty back. Can AJ get there in time? No, Chicago will cover him up. Direct in the stats, giving us supporting my observation about the demolitions here. G2 is 13th in the region in demos. FaZe is 2nd, but they're in through the first 4 games. G2 27 demolitions to only 9 from FaZe.
That's what? That's almost 7 per game. Yeah. Ask and you shall receive, Wave. You want physicality,
Typical.
You got it. And first killer gonna drop one right in front. Typical gonna make sure it gets home.
We getting typical in this game. First killer, what a block. That's incredible. I mean, part of that is just simple geometry with the challenge, but my goodness, then typical a muscle to make sure it goes in. 2-0 with 2 minutes left to go, Chiefs. We've been here before, and G2 saved a shot on that and then still won. So I'm not writing this game out just yet.
You definitely cannot afford to say it's done yet. But Typical has looked much better this game. He really hasn't had to do too much, but at the same time, again, there he's going to break up another big play, and that one's just going to go into the net.
Wow. The long way from his backboard. Oh, Typical. What a hat trick.
Oh, what a dismount. I wish my timing was that well understood by me.
Incredible. What a mastery. 1:45 left to go. Up by 3 now. Feeling a lot more secure. It's Typical in the corner looking for goal number 4. Atomic in Chicago to try and get this away. So what do you make of this? I feel like we have a narrative going here through the first 4 games of how we got to this point, how G2 took control back, the mistakes FaZe was making, or the strong plays they were making at the beginning of the series. And now here in game 5, up by 3, what changed?
Well, it's really just like we were talking about. Like G2's getting the pushes; they're not actually registering any shots on target, but they're definitely not sitting here jammed in their own half like they were at the start of the series. And that really is just the challenge game and the ability of FaZe Clan to clear the field a little bit more effectively, even if it's not holding on to the ball. That early lead paid a lot of dividends for them, I think, because they know they don't have to push too hard here.
There's also, to me, the aggression we see from FaZe here. AJ's, like the 2 of these Typical's goals were set up by wonderful passes from AJ. And they required some accuracy from Typical, as you pointed out, but it's still like it is a team effort. It's not just give Typical the ball and watch him score a goal.
It's definitely not just hand Typical the ball. That's
no, and
not that's a bad plan, but that's not going to win you every game.
There's only so bad that plan can be. That's always a pretty good plan. Oh dear, they put one in themselves. Poor Chicago makes it 4-0 again.
Here, let's hand Typical the ball and watch what happens.
That's AJ again too.
And Atomic, he just can't quite handle it. Bonk. It's off the top corner. He doesn't get the car on it, and he gets a G2 own goal. Now there you go. Never mind. Hand him everything. It turns to gold.
It's still the thing is the setups here, right? His teammates are getting these passes to him that are low percentage passes, hard situations to actually make work out. And the difference is that Typical believes. He's there for the pass. He's ready for AJ to get a flip reset and then win an aerial dunk to put it in as Atomic finds one here in garbage time on the other side. They won't get swept. They won't get beat 4-0 a second time in a row here, but they will lose game 5.
This is quite the shot from Atomic. That's not an easy one to to smash that hard as you rotate the car back. I know it doesn't matter, but I just enjoyed how hard he hit that because that was not easy.
First killer into the sky. Do we get one more highlight for the road? He's reaching for it. JNaps clear it away. And it's typical to AJ. Just trying to return the favor here. Give him a few passes. Save him for the next game. You're going to need him here. 4-1. FaZe takes game 5, surviving dropping to the lower bracket for at least another game as we go to game 6.
But you're definitely on the money there. I mean, yes, Typical's the one with 4 goals there on 3 shots and 1 save, but it's the dirty work that AJ and First Killer are doing up there on that offensive side of things. It is no easy task for them to work their way through that G2 defense, and I definitely think all of FaZe Clan played very, very well on defense this game, and definitely always a good thing when you can say you keep an offense that is as high-powered with potential as G2 is. It's only 4 shots on target. You're in a great spot.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to watch how to continue to pay attention to Typical's positioning, given his team, when his teammates have control, when his teammates are trying to get the setup for him. In situations where it seems like you shouldn't be upfield, you should be respecting that G2 is going to have a better challenge there. He's just not, and it's giving him these opportunities.
That's kind of the thing, right? It's like FaZe, in terms of structure in my head, really isn't too far off a team like Space Station. You've got 2 players that are brilliant up with the ball in Reddles and Arsenal, right? And you have that same thing here with AJ and First Killer. All you need from Typical is to just give as much space as you can possibly think of and just make the right decision on third man, and you are going to find yourself in so many advantageous spots to put goals away or just buy extra time, and you're going to win a ton of games.
So many legendary teams have played with the likes of Fireburner, Turbo Pulsa, win the game literally on third man positioning, just letting the front 2 man create opportunities and is being there for that opportunity when it happens here. But you've also pointed out, like, the game has evolved since the times of just blasted into an empty net now, because Garrett G and Jacob were able to open things up for old NRG, and Fireburner just has to scoop it up the easy ones. Now we're seeing still that first goal you point out from Typical, where he has to feint to the far post, shoot near post. So very complicated.
Yeah, you can't afford to have a weak third man in Rocket League anymore. Like, you need to have mechanics. Oh, that was a good attempt, but nowhere near good enough. Typical's mindset here, I don't even think he was thinking about a challenge. I think he saw that touch from JNaps and was thinking, that's off the wall, and I'm just going to bump him to take that away. That's what that line looked like to me. It didn't look like he was trying to hit the ball at all. He was just trying to stop a double tap, and the ball just happened to go in.
Either way, the big thing, though, the huge change here, G2, again, 1 game away. They're on match point. If they win here in game 6, the series is over. And the big change I'm noticing here, FaZe has scored first in the first 5 games. Oh, dear. That one's so close. Off the woodworks. G2, though, scoring first here in game 6. Completely flipping a pattern has been persistent. Does that spell the end of the series here for FaZe? AJ puts it on target. Typical tries to win the bump. Chicago gets in the way. First Killer with a follow-up again, but JNaps on the backboard. We'll get it from him. Now Atomic tracing this out of goal. Dumps it to Chicago. Back up to Atomic. Atomic got a boost. Has to rotate out, give control to FaZe.
2 chances in a row. I genuinely feel like FaZe should have been able to find a much stronger opportunity on net right there. And time dwindling. You know, obviously 3 minutes, a long time, but down by 1, it goes by pretty quick.
Here's the pass to Atomic. AJ's trying to take it away from him. Gets the interception.
Speed.
And another 1 challenge. FaZe with opportunities in the corner, but closed up on the back wall. Atomic back to midfield. Typical blasted to the sky.
Oh, you're kidding, JNaps. Okay. You realize Chicago was coming. I was about to say, like, why are we just letting them push up for free? And it's because I don't have eyes in my head. That's why.
They get it away. That third man position we were talking about. AJ over the top of 1. He doesn't have any boost to chase this, but Atomic gets 1 touch. Typical putting pressure on him, dropping it dangerously, but neither of his teammates there to make the shot happen. They'll keep a bit of pressure on, but all the G2 players surrounding this ball, swarming now as JNaps wins a challenge, gets demolished for it, but the ball is going to be in FaZe's back third. JNaps will spawn back into rotation. This drops. JNaps wants to fall back. He'll get his boost. And now move up field for the shot. First Killer in the corner. 1:43 left to go. G2.
There you go.
With everything they need to secure this series, have to hold on keep the swarming FaZe offense away.
Oh,
here comes
there you
Typical.
go.
Shot wide. Follow from first kill. Gives him another opportunity, but Atomic's up for it quickly. If Typical tries to hit the brakes and just flip into it, but the clear comes through. Now Chicago out of the corner. Over 1. Over 2. AJ alone in the back. The bump's coming in, but he manages to dodge it. JNAP actually waited for the shot. I fully expected him to crash the box.
Yeah, I don't even know how AJ even got a touch on that ball. I thought he was missing 100%. Then just skims right off JNAP's touch, and FaZe really in a bad spot here, and that's a great trap from first killer. Oh, and he's through Atomic as well. Okay, final minute. What do you got, FaZe? That miss is not going to help, that's for sure.
Here's Typical. Oh, but dunked by JNAPs. Trying to follow through. AJ out of the corner. You heard the jump. No pressure here. Atomic through 1 first killer now with the response. JNAPs into an empty backfield looking for Atomic to doink it. Oh, tried, but no, covered up. 33 seconds left. G2 just got to hold on. They've kept the ball away from their goal well enough. Can they finish it off? The long way down. And it's in. JNAPs from the side comes across the retreating offense and makes it a 2-goal game.
Big double commit there from FaZe Clan. They're both recovering, leaves the midfield wide open. All it takes is 1 strong touch from G2 to clear the field, and that's going to seal the deal. FaZe Clan will see you in the lower bracket.
24 seconds left. Need the kickoff goal, FaZe. Oh, Typical's going to try. Looking for the bump. Oh, the ball just froze. And I think that one will probably seal the deal here. I agree with you at this point. FaZe doing their best, but G2 lighting it up. Man, old desk predicting FaZe. Imagine predicting FaZe.
Stax is a genius. That's all I've found. That's all I've learned. Stax is a genius.
What an incredible man. Don't ever argue against Stax. G2 walk away with it in 6.
To be fair, though, I think Game 6 certainly could have went to overtime. I really do feel like FaZe had some excellent opportunities there. Typical 5 shots, no goals. AJ 3 shots, no goals. First killer, only 1 on target, but to be honest, I feel like the ones they definitely had G2 on the ropes there, and it was just a matter of getting him in between the goalposts. And unfortunately, at the wrong time, doesn't come through for him.
Oh, it was what a series though. What a back and forth. I mean, the highlights of Game 4, seeing Typical struggling a bit, watching him and his team really sink back up in Game 5 to find a way to bounce back here, and then G2, they find an early goal and say, hey, let's just play a good enough defense. Let's just get out of here. Let's just end this series. Let's walk home with it. FaZe gave them a few errors that allowed them to make it there, and they'll make it through. G2 proceeds through the upper bracket. FaZe will drop to the lower. We'll see them play a little bit later on. We're going to a quick break. The NASCAR Rocket League 351 continues after this.